Welcome to the Art of Using Your Personal Brand series, sponsored by the Personify Group. Today's featured expert guest is Crystal Geneva, founder and purpose coach of The Journey Back to Me. We will discuss the importance of finding your purpose and passion through self-love. Let's get
So,
started.
how are you this evening?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am excellent. I'm so excited about tonight, the journey back to me. I can't wait to learn some invaluable nuggets about how to overcome grief and anxiety and self-love. We all need it. We all need that reminder.
Yes.
So before we jump in, good evening, everyone. My name is Lolita Hampton. I'm the founder and chief brand officer of the Personify Group. We are a personal brand development firm. And tonight's series is brought to you by the Art of Using Your Personal Brand. This is our second episode, okay? And tonight's expert guest is none other than Crystal. She is the founder of The Journey Back to Me, as well as a purpose coach. And so we're going to dive right in and talk to Crystal about her business, about personal brand management, development. Just dive in and dig deep and listen to her story and see what we can learn from her regarding personal brand development. Again, this is the art of using your personal brand. So please stay tuned, share with your friends, tag your friends. Thank you, JR, for tagging your friend. Tag your friends. This is an invaluable session that we all can use. Nuggets that we can share with our loved ones. So again, stay tuned, tag your friends, and let's get started. So, Crystal, tell the viewers about yourself.
Well, as you said, I am a purpose coach, and I am the founder of The Journey Back to Me. That's one of the many things that I do, as you know. So I am a single mom of two. By day, I am an HR manager. By night, I am coaching and mentoring others to just be the best version of themselves. So
Absolutely.
my company was actually birthed out of the desire of wanting to see everyone win, wanting to see everyone be the best version of themselves that they can be. I, personally went through a lot of anxiety and grief. We'll get into that long story, but and so out of that, I found ways and little tips to be able to bring myself back to me, find out who I was. That's why my company is called The Journey Back to Me, because we all have that place and that purpose that was already innately put into us. And a lot of times we lose it. We lose it with, society telling us who we should be, our parents telling us who we should be, and just all of the outside influences. And so it's very important to just be able to come back to yourself, come back to your purpose, and figure out why you were put here on earth, in the first place. So
Absolutely. So when did you birth The Journey Back to Me?
So The Journey Back to Me was actually birthed in 2018. And it started because of the fact that I had gone through a lot in a very short period. So before all of that, though, innately, I have always been the person that helps everyone else. That is my gifting. My gifting is I have a servant's heart, and I have the gift of helps. So whether it be through, helping someone plan their events, or someone talking to me about something that's going on with them, I always naturally was just the go-to person. Outside of that, I'm also an empath, which means that I absorb everyone's energies and emotions. So, and I didn't find that out until later. I didn't find it out until I got, a lot older. What that was. So what happened was I actually I went through a divorce, and then I lost my dad right after that. So two major traumatic events that happened for me. I spent many, many years taking care of my parents and taking care of my friends and my family, and lost me in that. So I woke up one day and literally realized that I didn't know who I was. I felt like I lost my identity. And so I actually started going to therapy. Don't let anyone tell you that therapy is not for us, because it absolutely is.
I'm an advocate for therapy as well.
Yes. I tell people all the time, therapy saved my life. And so through my journey with my therapist, one of the things that she said when I walked in and I said, I'm broken. I don't know who I am. I'm depressed. That was another word that I kept using. I'm depressed. And she said, you're not depressed. You're grieving. Think about all the stuff that you've gone through. Think about all of the things that you absorb. Think about all of the energies that you've absorbed over these years, you know, and you haven't dealt with that. You just keep going. You just keep pushing through. You just keep trying to figure out another way. And you can't do that. You've never allowed yourself to figure out who you are. You are everyone else's version of who you think you should be. And so through that and going through a lot of the things that she had us go through together, I started out, I originally just wrote a workbook. I wrote a workbook that kind of helped me get through those issues. And then from there, I officially started the journey back to me to help others and coach others through the same kind of situations, and just as well as trying to help people find their purpose and their passion.
Okay. I want to go back to something you said earlier. It was a few characteristics that you use to describe yourself. As you know, the Personify Group, we focus on personal brand development. So based upon those characteristics you shared, what would you say your personal brand statement is? And it can be more than one, but what would you describe yourself using a personal brand statement?
So I would say that my personal brand statement would be, I'm trying to think of the best way to say it. I am a purpose coach that is, my desire is to help others succeed.
Right. Okay. And so just for those who are unfamiliar with personal branding, we all are born with a personal brand. Okay. And some personal brands are very similar to others. So however, it is a innate gift that we were all born with. And that personal brand is something that you just have a drive, a desire, something that just comes very natural to you, something you really just can't even run away from. And you find that no matter what your occupation is, where you are in your journey in life, that personal brand keeps tugging on you, keeps pulling on you. And so I wanted Crystal to share about her personal brand and how that helped to cultivate her to be the woman and a businesswoman that she is today. And again, your personal brand can complement your professional life as well. So don't think because the term personal before brand means that, okay, I have to keep that in my personal life. No, your personal brand will actually take you to the next level professionally. Yeah. So, Crystal, you were saying that you are a purpose coach. Can you kind of dig a little deeper what purpose coach represents?
Yes. So, and I've gone through a few versions of, so speaking of personal branding, I've gone through a few different versions of where I wanted to land and what type of coaching I wanted to do. Because my ultimate, it's sitting here thinking about it too, my ultimate brand statement is I live to inspire others. So that is what I do. And so with purpose coaching, what we do is we try to identify what your purpose actually is. What are you actually put here to do? And so we start by overcoming all of those obstacles, identifying your obstacles, overcoming your obstacles. I provide structure and accountability to whatever goals you're trying to achieve. I try to pinpoint those areas that, you know, where you're resistant to change. We are creatures of habit. We don't like change, you know, so we have a hard time changing. So I help you break down all of those barriers, and then I just help you create a path, a long-term, short-term and long-term path to becoming that person that you were really meant to be.
Okay. All right. So can you share some steps that, you know, someone to say they're interested in utilizing your services? Can you kind of share a little bit some of those steps they would need to take?
So, well, the first thing is that when you meet with me for the first time, I typically have a just like a consultation where we sit down, we talk. I need to hear about why you're coming to me. What is the reasoning that you're coming to me? Because I always tell people I'm not for everyone, because I am not for the person that doesn't have the desire to change, if that makes sense. So we sit down, we have that conversation, and then what I'll do, the first step is to change your mindset. Before we do anything else, we need to go through where your mindset is, pull out those negative, defeating thoughts, and, you know, repurpose those into something that is going to be more fulfilling to you. So that is the first thing. Before I do anything else, we talk about mindset. Once we break through the mindset, then we go into developing the goals and trying to come up with your plan as far as where we need to get you. Typically, I have between a 6-month and a year-long plan, because change does not happen overnight. And, for anyone that decides to go with any kind of life coach or accountability coach, and they tell you they can change you in 30 days, I don't know that I would trust that.
It's a lot different than like a 30-day diet, right? It's not a 30-day plan. Yeah.
Yes, we're trying to change your life. We're trying to change your lifestyle. We're trying to change your habits, and we're trying to get you to live in a life of abundance and overflow within your purpose. So there's lots of steps that we need to take to get you there. So it's not an overnight process.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So you mentioned in one of your videos previously about your clientele. So do you service just women, service men, both? Tell us a little bit, and even age groups.
Yes. So my youngest client is actually 8. My oldest client is 82.
Wow.
And I service both men and women. So for my younger clients, it's more of, their parents are probably pushing them to come speak with me. But the thing that I like about working with the younger clients is that I am able to put something into them and they don't know anything else, so I'm able to create a positive mindset in them and teach them how to overcome obstacles that they're dealing with, whether it's a school or home life or things like that. My older population. So the one thing that I've learned throughout starting this business was that you are never too old to learn.
Yes.
And one of my cousins, actually, she made a statement to me. She said, "You're never too young to teach and you're never too old to learn." Because when you think about it, especially our older population, they're like, "Oh, I know everything. I already know that. You can't teach me anything." A lot of older people have that mentality. The clients that I do have that are older actually are still having life-changing breakthroughs, because they are realizing that they've gone through their whole life. They've raised their kids. Some of them have even raised their grandkids, and they lost themselves. They never took the time out to figure out who they really were. And so for one of my clients, I have a client, her husband passed away. So a few of her kids have actually passed away. And so she's like, "I don't have anyone to take care of anymore."
Wow.
What I do now, I don't know what to do. I'm lost. And so, we walk through identifying her purpose, trying to figure out what she can do for this life that she has left. And it's been an amazing ride. But then also with that, I actually, over the last year, my clientele has changed a lot. My clientele has actually shifted from predominantly women to men.
Oh.
And so what I have learned through that is that men are starting to identify that, hey, I need some help. I don't need to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders anymore. I don't need to be that person that society has told me to be. Men are told that they need to be strong and they don't need to cry and they need to carry their families and they need to, just suck it up and just do whatever it takes to get through. Men are suffering. Yes. Men are suffering. It's been unfortunate that we've had some suicides, come from that. I actually suffered a great loss with one of my very, very dear friends, because unfortunately he felt like he didn't have anyone to talk to.
Wow.
So, he didn't feel like he had any other choice but to take his own life. And so that is what I am trying to avoid with these men. And so these men are having major breakthroughs. And I think that because of the fact that I'm a woman and I can give them a different perspective than that man sitting across from them, like, yeah, I know what you're going through, but this is what we got to do. It kind of helps them. It helps to soften the blow.
Absolutely.
And so, with a lot of them, I'm actually teaching them to go through a lot of relationships things. Some men are having issues at home with their women, and so I help them to understand why their women may be acting the way that they're acting or what they can do differently to kind of, navigate the situation. I do some couples counseling and therapy as well, too. So that's happened. I do some family counseling as well. So I definitely do the mediation piece of it. So it's just been an awesome ride. Awesome ride.
Okay. Well, okay. For those who are viewing and again, sharing with others, at what stage would you recommend that someone come and see you?
I feel like when you get to that point where you don't really know what else to do. You don't know where to turn. You feel like you're stuck. When you feel like you're at that place where you're like, I don't know. I don't know what I want out of life. I don't know what to do in my family life. I don't know what to do in my personal life. I don't know what to do in my business life. And you need someone to help kind of pull you through, coach you through, be your accountability partner. That's when people come and see me.
Okay. We do have a question. It says, what have you seen to help break through barriers with issue seeking? It's hard for me to see this because of how this camera is
With
set
issues
up.
of seeing mental health. Yep, I see it.
Okay, so the question's for you anyway, Crystal. So
okay. So that's a very good question, actually. And so one of the other things in working with me is that I'm also a certified mental health first aid coach as well too. So I am certified at being the first line of defense if you're having a mental health crisis. But one of the major things that I've seen with mental health over the last, I would say 3 to 5 years or so, is that the stigma that is normally attached to getting help is starting to break down. And so there's so many more resources than there used to be as far as mental health. I think that the doctors are talking more about it. I think that there's many more therapists, social workers are talking about it more. So even companies working in HR, a lot of the EAP, the Employee Assistance Programs, are now offering free mental health counseling, which definitely is a help. So I think that especially with everything that has gone on in the last couple of years, the knowledge and the awareness has been heightened in society as a whole. So people are now paying more attention to mental health and mental wellness.
Absolutely. Okay. So I want to go back to you because, again, this is about personal brand development. So at what point in your journey of overcoming anxiety and grief, at what point did you realize, you know what, I want to help other people? I want to use my life experience. I want to use what God gave me to help others. At what point did that happen for you?
So it was funny. It was probably right after I wrote my workbook. And I just literally, I am a believer in God. I put in all of my posts, you'll see, I talk about God a lot. I'm like, God saved my life. God, I feel like I can't do anything without him. So we have a personal relationship. So we talk a lot. So I feel like while I was writing my book that I just heard this still little voice, and the voice said, Crystal, there are men and women that are attached to you, that are attached to your calling, that are attached to your purpose, and you need to go speak to them. You need to open your mouth. I have given you a word, and you need to open your mouth, and you need to help and pull them through whatever they're going through. So I'm sending you through all of this so that you can then help everyone else that I've attached to you. So, and from there, it's just been, I did my first video. And throughout that, when we talk about personal branding, when I did my first couple videos, my first couple workshops, I was nervous to tell my story.
That's it. You got to tell your story. That's it. I'm just sitting here saying, you got to tell your story. You have to.
Yes, I was so nervous to tell my story because I didn't want the judgment of it. I was afraid of the judgment of everything that I've gone through. And so I did my first couple workshops and I was quiet about it. I really wouldn't say anything. And so I started working with a few different mentors, and all of my mentors kept saying the same thing when we were trying to kind of scale down what I wanted to do. They said, where's your story? Yeah. You know, I understand your business. I understand your purpose, but no one's going to buy this if you don't tell your story. It is you that's going to sell this to people.
Yes. Yes.
And
that is absolutely, at the Personify Group, we talk about personal brand development. You have to, first of all, it starts with a vision. You guys know that is my platform. That is my tagline. It starts with a vision because it does. And then you have to be willing to tell your story. And once you're able to tell your story, then other things will open up. That brand statement will come through, that personal brand statement. Yes. And then just be your authentic self. Be true to who you are. Because you're going to be uncomfortable. You're not going to really be able to get your breakthrough or help other people with their breakthrough, no matter what your profession is, if you can't be authentic to yourself.
Yes.
But it definitely goes back to first telling your story. And even as I relaunched the Personify group this year, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm telling other people to tell their story. Well, you got to tell your story too. You got to put it out there. And like you said, feeling the shame, the embarrassment, but just as you with purpose, purpose branding, purpose coaching, I am passionate about personal brand development. Because it's for everyone. It's not a celebrity thing. It's not a status thing. It's not a certain occupation. It is for everyone because everyone was born with it. However, I have to be transparent as a strategist in personal brand development and say, hey, let me tell you my story. Let me tell you what got me to where I am. And as you mentioned, therapy saved your life. My personal brand saved my life. Okay. Because I was feeling so down. Grief, didn't realize that I was living, through grief and some anxiety, some things I didn't heal from, from my past. And was wondering like, why I can't get any further. Doors will not open. And it wasn't until I was laid off of my job, my previous job, and I had some time to just kind of reflect. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much grief I was carrying.
Yes.
Yep. So the Personify group was birthed in 2014, but I couldn't do anything with it because of the pain that I was carrying because of the grief. And then I was carrying a shame. I was so ashamed of the trauma that I went through, And so as I began to help clients, and I said, what's your personal brand? Tell me your story. And, I have one particular client, she's running for a local office, and quick story, at the end of her, helping her write her speech. And in her speech, she said, simple, simple, simple. And I was like, simple? Why you keep saying that? She's like, well, people say this. And I could tell it was a story behind that. And I said, no, tell me, what's your story behind the simple? She was like, well, everyone says I'm simple, so I'm just going to use the word simple. I said, oh, no. I mean, you know what? I might as well just let this personal brand development go if I don't help cultivate your story.
Right.
There's a story behind all of us. And so even in the midst of that, I had to tell my story. I had to open up and share. But it's so amazing. It's so amazing how much grief can hold you back from your purpose. Purpose coach. How it can hold you back because that story that you don't want anyone to know, but it's holding you back.
Yep. That's
so it's best that you, So it's best that you just, be transparent. Tell your business, because everybody got some business, okay? And set yourself free. I have, speaking of word purpose, I told my children, my husband, I said, I haven't felt so purposed in so long.
Yes.
In so long.
Yes.
So I absolutely appreciate you just sharing your story and being transparent. And I hope that it encouraged, our viewers tonight. And I'll repost this video as well. And those who weren't able to join us will, revisit this and understand that, listen, you have a story.
Everyone has
a purpose.
Yes.
And your personal brand can save your life and can take you to the next level as well. So there's purpose, there's personal brand, there's promise, there's so many things attached to us. But I'm going to let you continue on with your, I just had to chime in like, hey, listen, fine. I know. I know, but I appreciate the transparency. So you mentioned that, I want you to touch back on at what point in grief or anxiety should someone, again, seek the services that you offer, or a counselor? At what point? Like, is it to the point of like, today's the day I'm taking my life? At what point do you say, hey, you know what? Give me a call, send me an email. What would you suggest?
I would say as soon as you're feeling any kind of anxiety or uncertainty. One of the things that I have learned is that it takes an average of 5 to 7 years for someone to reach out when they are having a mental health issue. They deal with it for 5 to 7 years.
All that 5 to 7 years. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
With me. Yeah.
And that's the minimum. Most people don't reach out before then. And by then, there's so many things that could have been done, so many interventions that could have happened. And one of the things that I would say too is that we all have family, we all have friends that want the best for us.
Yes.
But just because people have the intentions of doing well, not everyone has the right to speak into your life. Not
Say
everyone,
that again. Say that again. Make sure the
not
viewers hear.
everyone has the right to speak into your life, and not everyone is anointed to speak into your life. And even though they have the best of intentions. So what I found out, and I think that what a lot of other people are finding out, is that it's not always your friends and family that are going to help you with that breakthrough. They may have great advice, the advice that maybe they would give themselves. Some of them may not even follow it themselves. So I found that out as well, that people will give you advice that they would never follow themselves. But from the outside looking in, because they're so close to you, even, they may not have the perspective that you need at that time to get you through whatever it is to get you through. And so again, while their intentions are good, it may actually hinder your growth. It may stunt your growth.
Yeah.
You may have family that's like, oh, I want to start this business. I don't know if you should start that business. You got 2 kids at home. Like, what happens if it don't work out?
Oh, yeah.
You don't need that. Like, you don't need that.
Especially those wise seniors, right?
Yes,
yes. Seasoned saints. That's
seasoned
not how we did it.
Yes. And so, and again, they have the best of intentions, but sometimes you have to seek outside counsel in order to grow. So you want to get around, whether it's myself or whether it's just someone that's like-minded or someone that's on the next level. Even me being a coach for as many years as I've done it, I always have someone that's on the next level that I'm trying to go to, that I'm seeking counsel from, that I'm seeking wisdom from. So I feel like it's really at any point in your life where you just feel stuck, where you feel unfulfilled, or even before that, if you just are at an impasse, if you're at an impasse, and it can be something minor. It could be, I don't know what I want to do, in the next year, or I feel like, my job may be going away and I don't know what my next path is. I'm starting to have issues at home. Again, I have these issues with women as well, but especially with the men. A lot of men come to me and say, hey, I'm having issues at home. Like, I'm starting.
Your value went out, Crystal. Okay, go
Did
ahead.
it? Okay.
Your value went out.
Okay. Yeah. So, I have people that say, I'm having issues, men that say, or women, I'm having issues at home. I'm starting to feel unfulfilled. I'm starting to feel unappreciated.
Right.
At that point, before it gets too bad, reach out and seek help from someone else. Or you don't know, where you want to go in life, anything, you don't know where you want to go in life, reach out, seek help, seek counsel, seek coaching. Because it will really take a lot of that strain and that stress that you're feeling, that anxiety, that grief that you're feeling off of you. You don't have to go through it. You don't have to suffer through it. There's no need. There's so many resources out here available to you.
Would you can touch a little deeper on grief? Because I think a lot of us don't recognize when we are experiencing grief. And then, like you said, it's almost too late. You're just right at that breaking point. So can you kind of share what are the signs of grief so that we can help ourselves and help others?
Yes. And I need to put a plug in. No, this is not a paid sponsorship, but I am a fan of the Grief Recovery Handbook.
Okay.
It is an amazing book. You can go through it as a group. I go through it. That is one of the services that I offer. I will go through that book with you. But grief is not just someone dying. Grief could be a loss. It could be I'm moving to a new job. And so I'm, losing, and it may be good. Grief is not always bad. Sometimes grief is, you're moving on to bigger, better things.
Wow.
But you have some anxiety around it. You may be grieving what you're losing. You may be having anxiety about what you're losing in order to get to wherever you need to go. So it's not just about death. It could be divorce. It could be death. Absolutely. It could be anything, mother wounds, father wounds, going through that. It could be a lot of different things. So grief is an all-encompassing word. And I had to learn that because when I went to my counselor, when I referred to grief, I only referred to my dad passing. That was it.
I know, because I realized, like you said, a divorce, any type of disconnect, it's still grief. It's a loss, just like you think about people when they their pets. I don't know if we have any pet lovers, on tonight, but grief, and you see a lot of them like, I need to take some time off of work.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
oh my gosh, so any, like you said, a job, oh my gosh, you really hit on something. Wow, that's very powerful. And I like how you mentioned that it's not always something that's just like death, it's just a brokenness. But it doesn't mean that there aren't pieces and resources to put it back together.
Yes.
And even refine, just like old furniture, refine that furniture, So that's amazing. We have a question. When you started your personal brand, did you know what your personal brand was? Now, Chris and I can both, answer that, but I'll start. So again, your personal brand is something that you are born with, okay? Believe it or not. I'll go ahead and put my business out there. Most of you already know. Anyway, I was born on May 28, 1980. So May 28, 1980, I was born with a personal brand when I came, when I was delivered from my mother. And so what happens is through your lifetime, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, that personal brand is cultivated. Now, for those of you who follow the Personified Group, I posted something last Thursday on Throwback Thursday about old TV shows from the 90s. They cultivated my personal brand. Watching Claire Huxtable, watching Aunt Viv, watching Whitley Gilbert, watching Laura on Family Matters, all those persons actually helped to cultivate my personal brand because I was drawn to some of those characteristics, okay? And so to really answer your question, like, how do you know what your personal brand is? Again, it's that thing that you're always drawn to, you know? So if you've always been drawn to leadership, that's part of your personal brand. And again, leadership could be putting the books on the shelf, in your classroom. And I'm just saying elementary school, okay? Leadership can be, hey, I want to take the lead in a volunteer, organization. It doesn't have to necessarily be a paid thing, okay? Your personal brand is revealed to you at a very young age. You just don't realize that, oh, this is who I am. So my mission as a personal brand strategist is to cultivate that, yes, as an adult. And then as Crystal mentioned, working with children, as well as you teaching them, hey, don't wait until you're 40 years old to discover what your personal brand is. So those of you who are parents, talk to your children about their personal brand. Talk to them about their vision. What do they see? What do they want to be when they grow up? Watch what they do in school. Watch what they do in the neighborhood. Watch how they serve within the home. And you will be able to see what their personal brand is and help to cultivate that, help to expose them to that so that they can optimize and monetize and maximize on that personal brand. Your personal brand, I said this and I'm going to keep saying it, your personal brand will open up doors that your resume can't touch.
Yes.
And I say can't.
Amen. Amen.
Okay.
Yes.
So your personal brand has nothing to do with your college degree. Okay. Yes, I'm degreed, but it has nothing to do with your college degree. It doesn't have anything to do with your economical status. Okay. It doesn't matter where you live. Doesn't matter who birthed you. Okay. You were born with a personal brand. So again, those are the areas I would say, pay attention, spend time with yourself, pay attention to, man, I'm really drawn to this. Again, even certain shows, certain characters, or certain shows like, oh, I'm always drawn to those leaders, those women who exhibit leadership, who exhibit a very nurturing mother, wife, whatever it is, creative. Pay attention to that, And again, watch your children and see what they are drawn to. And I promise you, that is their personal brand being cultivated. It's already birthed, but being cultivated. Now I'll let, Crystal, what's your thought on personal brand?
No, I would say the same thing. So like I said earlier, I had this purpose and this passion from my youth. I'm thinking back on it. This has been who I always have been. I have always been the person to help people. I have always been drawn toward trying to inspire others. So that's why my tagline is I live to inspire others. I start all of my videos with I'm Crystal Geneva and I live to inspire others. Because that is really it for me. I am always wanting to just see everyone win. And I was like that even in grade school. I was the person that if there was someone in my classroom or someone in my school that no one else talked to, that people picked on, I made them my best friend. Like those were my people. So the people that may have been in the learning disabilities classes that everyone else picked on, those were my people because I wanted to see them win. I wanted to see them feel good about themselves. I wanted to make sure that they were well taken care of. So that's just always been innately in me. And I will say that with that, it did take a while to actually understand and identify it for myself, to be self-aware of it, you know? So while it was always in me, I was not self-aware what the heck was going on.
And I appreciate that transparency. And that's what I meant earlier by, you know, it takes time to cultivate, and life situations, you know, will kind of alter your personal brand.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that it's still not there, but the way you respond, the way you utilize your personal brand will change. So, you know, again, picking up all the books, putting them on the shelf in the classroom will be different. You know, in fifth grade, it's going to be different as a marketing strategist, you know, when you're 30 years old and have a college degree and you've been married or maybe married, divorced, whatever your, you know, situation has been, life exposure. We know life changes us, okay? But understand that there's still a few characteristics in you that the world just did not give you, that you were just born with. And that's what we want people to understand about their personal brand, and as well as from the journey back to me about your purpose. There are areas that you just cannot, you were born with it and you're going to die with it.
Yeah.
And that's
just deny it.
You're going to be born with it and you're going to die with it. So you might as well utilize it. I like to tell people that your personal brand is your gift to the world.
It is.
You know, some people say, I don't have anything to offer.
Yes, you do.
You offer you. Offer yourself to the world. It doesn't matter your college degrees and education and training. You were born with a personal brand. You were born with a purpose.
Yes. And I definitely can say that too. So when piggybacking on what you just said, all of the positions that I've had, all of the doors that I've walked through were not because of my degrees. They had nothing to do with my degrees. So yes, I'm degreed as well. It's great. But the promotions that I've received, some of the doors and the barriers that have been broken down have been from me sharing my story.
Right.
And I will say even within just like the last 2 years. So the last 2 years, I started doing LinkedIn videos. That was new for me. I wanted to stay as far away from LinkedIn as possible because, you know, with me having a full-time corporate role as well, I was like, I don't want these people in my personal business, you know, so I'm not going to share anything there. And then one day I was speaking to one of my managers and she was like, why not? Why wouldn't you? That's your platform. So if that is what you feel like you need to do, then go ahead and share your platform and your story with people. I started doing that. And from there, my life literally catapulted. My business catapulted. My work life catapulted. I didn't realize me telling my story outside of work actually would affect work. It actually got me promotions because people saw how authentic I actually was, that I'm a real person, you know, and I'm not hiding behind this smile. And so it just, telling your story can literally change your life. And I tell people that all the time. So like you said, your personal brand, who you are innately, that is your story to share with the world. You have it for a reason. And it can literally change your life.
It can literally change your life, or it can literally save your life.
It can literally save your life. Yes.
Yes. For those who were not on earlier, I was sharing that my personal brand saved my life because I was so down. I didn't realize I was even in like a state of depression and grief on my job because I didn't feel like I was being purposed. I felt stagnated. I knew that I had all these gifts and talents, but I felt like they were starting to die. And I was like, I'm not dead, you know. I have a lot more life to live, but because I just wasn't moving in a direction that I wanted to move in, I just felt like, you know what is the purpose? And then when I started to even share with my children, and these are, you know, 12 and under, they're like, what are you talking about, lady? And I'm like, I'm just learning so out of it. And I realized, man, if I'm talking to my kids, I know I'm in a bad place, you know? And so I began to pray and seek. And, you know, one day God was like, you're done. You're done here. You're going to rebirth the Personified Group, and you're going to tell your story, and you're going to help others tell their story through personal brand development. So I totally understand and can empathize with you on just sharing. And I hope those who are listening tonight, and again, those who will rewatch the video later, please do not be afraid to share your story. You know, I thought, Crystal, I need to go back to school. Maybe I need to get my doctorate degree.
Yep.
It's me.
Been there.
It's me. I don't have enough, you know. Yes, yep. I'm, you know, master's degree, training, all this other stuff, but it's me. It's not them, it's me. Yeah. And then I realized, oh my gosh, you know, and it's been 3 months. And again, you know, one thing I want to encourage, you know, those who are listening and following us, that God can birth something in you and then years later establish it.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So I told my history of the Personified Group. It was birthed in 2014. Okay. Official, not just telling my story. You know, I had the official government documents. It was an official business, but it was not established until 2021. And I didn't realize I had to go through all these different experiences to help cultivate my personal brand. Yep. So someone said, when did you know? How do you know? When did you start your personal brand? It starts again from birth. However, life experiences have to help to cultivate you to get you where you are. And it doesn't stop here. This is just the beginning. It doesn't stop here. I'm going to continue to experience different life circumstances. And as Crystal mentioned earlier about grief, doesn't have to be sad. Circumstances doesn't mean it's gloom and doom, but it's just about exposure that's going to help to continue to cultivate. And then ultimately it's to maximize, optimize, and monetize. So as Crystal mentioned, she received a promotion on her job. Guys, I want you to hear this. She received a promotion on her job because of her personal brand. The whole premise of this live tonight is the art of using your personal brand. The art of using your personal brand. So there's no cookie cutter way to necessarily use it. But first thing is to discover, like, I have a personal brand.
Yes. And then be authentic in it.
And be authentic in it. Mm-hmm. And so again, the premise behind the mission behind the Personified Group is to help you to discover your personal brand. So mm-hmm. I'm here, my team is here to help you to discover your personal brand. And then we can help you cultivate your way into a new life. So we say, let us turn your vision into reality.
Yes.
So let's turn this vision that your personal brand is tied to, and let's turn this into a reality. That's the whole purpose of your personal brand, not for just for you to hold on to it and say, oh, I remember when I was 6 years old, I always wanted to do this. No. Utilize your personal brand and go to the top. You know, as they say, ball out, go to the top. Utilize your personal brand and get what you were created to have.
And sometimes that means doing it afraid. Ooh. So I have learned over the last couple years that when I feel afraid, when I feel anxiety, when I feel, oh, I don't know if I should do it, I do it. Well, now it catapults me into doing it. I am going to do it on purpose because I know that is just fear trying to hold me back. And I can tell you that every single time that I have jumped when I felt afraid, I have received more than I ever imagined by doing it. So don't let fear hold you back. Your purpose is birthed and it's innately in you for a reason. It's not there. It's not there for you to be scared about whatever is going to happen. It's not going to be, you shouldn't be like, oh, well, I don't know if I have this great opportunity, but I'm not going to walk away from my job because I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to pay my bills. Yeah. Guess what? It'll happen if that is your purpose. God will take care of everything else.
Yes, you know, and it's easier to say it than to do it. And I know Crystal can attest to that. You know, it is absolutely a faith walk, and you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to have some rookie mistakes. You're going to have some veteran mistakes, you know.
Yes.
We all are learning. Every day is a new opportunity to gain more knowledge and gain more understanding about your personal brand, about your purpose. But I absolutely feel you on that jump. You know, there was a song that I've not even listened to the complete version, but it talks about, you know, I don't jump, I leap. Like, you know, I dive in. And I was like, oh my God, no, this is me. I'm diving in.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, and again, for those of you who follow me, you know, like I've gone hard in the paint. Like, listen, I'm not jumping, I'm diving in because I spent so many years not realizing that I am purpose for so much more. Just doing what I felt like I just had to do. And you still got to take care of your business. Now, we're not telling you guys
Absolutely.
to go put in your notice and quit your job tomorrow. What we're encouraging you tonight is, first of all, to use your personal brand. And if you don't know what your personal brand is, I'm here. I can help you discover your personal brand. If you don't know what your purpose is, Crystal can help you. That's what the journey back to me is about, to help you. So a combination of services that we offer can help you get to the top, can help you come out of that grief, can help you come out of anxiety, can give you the tools to see yourself in a different light, can help you tell your story.
Yes.
Help you tell your story. Imagine that. You know, some people think, you know, I have to share this. If you think about the rappers and entertainers, they're always telling their stories. And
Yes.
we listen to them constantly, day after day. Day after day, we listen to them tell their stories. You have a story too. You have a story to tell. That's why personal brand development purpose is not limited to entertainers and celebrities. They were born just like us.
Yeah.
And we sit and listen to their stories and make millions of dollars for them listening to their stories.
Right.
We sit here right here on these lives, you know, IG, Facebook, Twitter, wherever, and we listen to their stories. We listen to their stories and they monetize on us listening to their stories. So tell your story.
Yeah.
You don't have to go live. You can videotape yourself. I want to encourage you to videotape yourself and just share with some people that you feel like you can trust before you even go live, before you put it out to the world. But you have a story. And the more comfortable you get with telling your story, the more comfortable you get with, you know what? This is what I want to do. This is what I need to do. This is what I'm purposed to do. This is part of my personal
Now,
brand.
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm like,
I was just gonna say, and you know, along with that, I would encourage you. One of the posts that I put up the other day was, where your attention goes, your energy flows. So you have to be intentional about figuring out what your purpose and your personal brand is. Be intentional. Decide to go ahead and do the work to figure it out so that you can move to a different level. Because another thing, an important part of finding your personal brand and finding your purpose is that all of that energy that you're wasting, putting into other things, putting into other people, pouring out and pouring out and pouring out into all these other things, it's not benefiting you.
Right.
What benefits you, what I found that benefits me, is when I am full, when my cup is full, when I know who I am, when I'm operating in my authentic self, as my authentic self,
yes.
I am able to touch way more people. My family operates better. My businesses operate better. My relationships are better because I understand my purpose. I understand my personal brand. I understand who I'm putting out there for the world.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I read something, well, heard something earlier, and I'm going to touch on that even further. But you have to nurture your personal brand. You have to nurture your purpose.
Yes.
Nurture your personal brand, nurture your purpose. So even with the help of the Personified Group and the Journey Back to Me, we give you all these tools, all these steps, all these workbooks, worksheets, because I got them too. Okay. But you have to nurture that. You know, you got to walk in these things. You can't just, okay, you know, I got it. It's an everyday thing. You know, when we say cultivate, set that time apart and work on your craft. Again, I go back to these celebrities and entertainers and rappers that make so much money off of their craft.
Yes.
Because they take the time to pour into themselves. And then we grab hold and we're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So your purpose too. It doesn't have to be a record label, but understand that someone needs to hear your story. It could come through a song, a rap. It could come through a book. It could come through many different entities. With the world of technology today, you don't have to limit yourself. There's so many different resources that, are available to help you tell your story. Again, I appreciate everyone who joined us tonight. We're getting close to the end. I didn't want to keep Crystal past an hour again, and she mentioned she's a mom too. Okay. And a full-time, professional in the HR world. So we appreciate you, Crystal, for taking the time to share your story.
Thank you.
And to share with us your authentic self and how your personal brand has taken you to the next level.
Yes.
Do you have any closing remarks? I don't think we have any more questions, but do you have any closing remarks for our viewers tonight?
No, just to piggyback on what we've said before, be intentional. Be intentional about finding your purpose and your personal brand. Then once you are intentional about doing that, make sure that you are cultivating it, like you said. Walk in it daily. Take time out to really understand who you are. And then share that story. Make sure that you are sharing that story, because you never know who is attached to you, whose life is attached to yours. You never know who you're touching. There's plenty of times actually that I've come across people that are like, they never comment on my social media ever, didn't even know they were there. But then one day I may come across them for whatever reason, and they're like, Crystal, you're changing my life. Everything that you're saying, everything that you're doing is changing my life. I was depressed, or I was grieving, or I was going through XYZ. And just you showing up daily as your authentic self and sharing your story, sharing your personal brand with me has literally changed my life. So you never know whose life you're going to change by telling your story.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you on that. Again, I've been at this full time now for 3 months, and I'm thankful for the lives I've been able to touch as well. And I'm going to keep going. I want to encourage you to keep going. Keep telling your story, Crystal. And those who are watching and following us, keep going. You may not be there today to tell your story, but keep going, because there is purpose that you were born with. There's a personal brand that you were born with. So we're going to end this session of The Art of Using Your Personal Brand, episode 2. We'll come back in December. Hopefully we'll have some children who actually have begun to cultivate their personal brand. I know a few. Awesome. And this is Christmas, family time, kid time. We may have a youth edition of The Art of Using Your Personal Brand. But I'm going to end this with this song, Unstoppable, because I want everybody to understand and be encouraged that you are unstoppable. With your personal brand and your purpose, you are unstoppable.
Yes.
So if you guys have any questions, you know how to reach us. I'm at personify_. I'm on all social media platforms.
This is one of my favorite songs.
Right. This has got me through. You are something special. He won't let me go. No, he won't let me go. No, he won't let me fall. No. All right, Crystal, I appreciate you. Thank you again. Oh, someone just joined us, but we are closing out tonight. I'm going to repost this, and Crystal, I'll send it to you to repost as well. But everyone have a good night. Thank you again. And remember, your personal brand matters. Your purpose matters. Good night, everyone.
Good night.